The HBCU First Look Film Let's Talk series is touring historically Black colleges and bringing experienced Hollywood film and TV executives, producers, directors, writers, content creators, and influencers for informative conversations on how to build a career in entertainment. We're looking for the next Spike Lee, Ruth Carter, Will Packer, hailing from the HBCU community. Are you the next? Get ready for an inspiring, empowering, and enlightening conversation Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
On today's episode of HBCU First Look Film, Let's Talk, we're in hot Atlanta at the home of the Panthers, Clark Atlanta University. Since 1865, some may say the Panthers have not only been holding the A-Town down with keeping the culture alive and academic achievement, but also taking the entertainment industry by storm. From notable alumni like award-winning director, producer, and actor Kenny Leon, film and television writer and director Kenya Barris, to television personality Eva Marcille. On this episode, we're sitting down with film writer and director Courtney Glaude, documentary and film producer Lisa Durden, visual effects editor and director MJ Whitaker, and Hallmark Media Senior Vice President Toni Judkins, with our moderator, Layla Muhammad. It's the HBCU First Look Film Let's Talk Careers from the HBCU First Look Film Festival.
So to get started, what we're going to do is have each one give us sort of a 2-minute or so, just individually, summary of. Sometimes it's hard to do this because when you have such an amazing body of work and accomplishments like they have at this point, it's hard to think, when I was sitting here and I was envisioning what? How did I get here? What steps did I take?
Well, hi, I'm Lisa Durden. Hi. I'm from Newark, New Jersey, born and raised, still live there, Brick City in the house. My road to being a filmmaker was a little bit different. I went to Seton Hall University and majored in journalism. So I thought I was going to be the next Sue Simmons. Of course, you're staring because you don't know who she is. But it didn't happen that way for me, right? I wasn't the straight talking kind of girl. I had personality plus. So at the time I graduated from college, we didn't have what we have now where your personality was a part of being a newscaster. You had to be serious. So I got a job. Hated the job in sales. I used to work for Kellogg's. Frosted Flakes, they're great. Quit the job and decided, let me just pursue a career in journalism. Along the way, couldn't find a job. Finally, I got a public access show. Did the public access show for free. Then got a job hosting a show called Brick City. While on the show, I pitched an idea about a guy who had a thing called Renaissance golf. When Tiger Woods was huge, every black kid in the world wanted to be the next Tiger Woods. So this black man in Newark started a golf organization and was teaching kids in Newark golf. So I pitched the segment to the director and said, let's do a segment about him. So we did. And while there, I'm looking at the teleprompter and I'm realizing that after we finished shooting, then playing golf, we did the interviews, and now I wrote the piece for the segment, and I said, hi, and welcome to Brick City. I'm your host, Lisa Durden. And today's segment, we have Urban Golf. The director called the organization Urban Golf. I said in my ear prompt, I said, oh, you made a mistake. He said, what's the difference? I said, but the name of the organization is Renaissance Golf, Inc. He said, well, what's the difference? I said, the difference is the name of the organization is Renaissance Golf, Inc. I'm young, not thinking about racism. So he changed the name, but he's in the back cursing in the control room, banging on desks. I've been cursed out before, but you're gonna change that name. That was the day when I understood when people would say, you have to tell your own story. I had heard about telling your own stories. I'm not paying no mind to it, I'm a TV personality. So I said, oh, that's what they mean. Sometimes white people want to tell the story you want to tell their way. The white man wanted people to see Urban Golf because it was black kids. Well, you're gonna see them anyway. He literally changed the name of the organization because he wanted a narrative. And that's the day I decided I'm gonna do my own films. After that, whenever somebody saw me at the supermarket, I watch you on TV. Can you talk about my organization? I decided if I saw a good story, I would do it myself. And the next time somebody said it to me, That was my first documentary. I didn't bring it to them, I did it myself. And that's how I became a filmmaker.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I Know. It's time for a new relationship. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
So my name is Courtney Glaude. I am the writer, director, and producer of The Reading. I'm from Houston, Texas. I've always been a storyteller, like since I was a kid, but like in Houston, they don't really tell you that you can go to school for screenwriting or something like that. It's like, well, either it's football or the Army down there. There's not a film industry, basically. So I attempted college. It didn't work. First semester was horrible, but the one thing that I did pass was my creative writing course. So I took that in, and the counselor brought me in, and she was like, well, do you have anything that you've written? So I brought her one of my scripts. That wasn't a script, it was just a story that I had written. And she introduced me to this program called Movie Magic. Got into movie magic, learned movie magic to where I ended up writing my first film. And I kind of left it alone for a while because after that point, there's nothing, in Houston, there's nothing teaching you what direction to go in. So I left it alone, so when I got back to it, I started going around video productions and things of that nature and just trying to learn how do you end up with a film. So, well, the first thing that I learned is, well, you need a producer. Well, there aren't any producers in Houston at that point in time that you could just go to and give your project to. So I had to learn how to be a producer and what a producer was. So I started going on sets asking, what are producers? What do they do? Well, a producer puts everything together. So I learned how to be a producer. Well, now you have to find a director. Well, there aren't any directors in Houston either. So now I have to figure out how to be a director. Okay, so I learned how to be a director. Well, now it costs money. So I went and got like a little part-time job as a janitor, and I just saved for a few years, and I ended up doing my first short that, and I took it to this film festival here. It's called Bronze Lens Film Festival. I think they have it like every year or every other year, and I ended up winning the Bronze Lens, and I ended up meeting people that were in the industry and learning where the industry was. After a few years of doing short films, I decided to take a crack at a feature, ended up writing The Reading, and I think the questions will go on about, the Monique story is long, so, but I ended up here with you guys at this point. The Reading came out earlier this year in February. By the way, it's Halloween, so y'all might want to go check it out because it's that time of the month to watch it again and again so that the numbers can run it back up again. Just if y'all wanted to watch something, you might as well watch it. And even if you don't want to watch it, you could put it on and walk away and then just come back and set it up again. That's okay too.
It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy.
How y'all doing? I'm MJ Whitaker. I am an editor, visual effects artist, director. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I attended Hampton University and majored in computer science. So during my time at Hampton University, I was rapping. I was making beats, bars. I'm talking about nice, right? So that's what made me decide to move to Atlanta, because of the burgeoning music scene, yada, yada, yada. Come down here, realized everybody making music. Everybody got an album. And so I was meeting a lot of people in the industry, and I started realizing everybody wanted music videos cut. And I knew how to use software. I was good with software. And video editing software looked a lot like music software to me, so it was an easy transition, and so I used that to kind of catapult into the scene and kind of meet people, and what I realized is that relationships were everything. Yep. And so all the relationships that I built in the music industry were coming back full circle, and now people that didn't necessarily mess with my beats and my music, they needed an edit. And so I was able to start editing like that, and one day a director in LA got my number somehow, and he was looking for a trailer for his, for a film that he was working on, and I had music video chops so I could make a trailer look cool. And so when I cut the trailer, he said, "Oh, you're good at storytelling. You ever edited like a scripted anything?" "Nah, but I can do it." And that's the next lesson I learned, that always say yes. Just say yes. And then you can do it. You can figure it out. So I got into television and film by way of that. And so a lot of people come in through different ways in terms of editors, like as an assistant or production coordinator, different types of roles. And so I was able to skip some steps, which I say I was fortunate to do, and that was based on relationships. And so to this day, I'm still forging relationships and trying to keep things moving.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
It's so nice to see all these beautiful faces here. I really am inspired by looking out here and seeing all of these young, beautiful creators. So interestingly enough, my name is Toni Judkins. I was introduced. I'm Senior Vice President of Programming and Development for Hallmark Mahogany. So I run the Mahogany initiative at Hallmark. And interestingly enough, I have a little bit of a connection to everything that everyone has said here on the stage. First, I come to you also from Newark, New Jersey. I grew up in Newark, but I kind of cut my teeth in the industry. I went to university on music scholarship. I was going to school to be a lawyer. I studied English pre-law and paralegalism, but I grew up in a very creative family. I played multiple instruments. I went to Arts High. I classically trained vocalist, and I love the law. I really do love the law. I think what I realized is that with the law, you could tell a story, and underneath that is storytelling. So I guess after a certain point, I knew I wasn't going to be a lawyer. Anyone who has any interest in entertainment that lives in New Jersey, they have their eyes set on getting to New York City as fast as possible. So I made my way to New York City, and I think my first job in entertainment was parking cars for director Woody Allen. That was, many of you probably, I don't know how much you know Woody Allen, but he was, for better or for worse, he is probably, will go down in history, one of the greatest filmmakers that ever lived. I started parking cars for him. I had the lowest job you could possibly imagine on a movie set. I had to work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Basically, when someone moved their car, it was something called lockup. If someone moved their car, I put a cone there so that the next morning, all the equipment that came in, the camera trucks and everything that came in to make the movie, I was working on the film Mighty Aphrodite. We had to basically reserve space for them. Through that experience, I met a guy who I was just a random guy that we would sit in the car all night together, and we became friends. That guy worked at VH1. He brought me into VH1 as another production assistant. That guy, by the way, would go on to do all kinds of amazing things. Currently, he has directed for the last several years The Jimmy Fallon Show. but both he and I started our careers sitting in cars in New York City from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So listen, you never know where you're going to begin. He brought me into VH1. I started working at VH1, was only one of the few people of color there, would go on to produce, would work my way up from being literally a production assistant, that my job was to drive people to the train station. I literally just, at 5 o'clock, I took a van and I drove several people to the train station, but eventually I got a break. And because I came from a musical background, I understood music really well, and this was at a point when we were using music videos as a soundtrack to any type of news story, any story we want to tell. We would cut it together, almost like a music, but use all the music. And so it was really evocative, it was really fun, and it was very catchy. There would come a time when the record labels were basically like, yeah, you can't use our music for free without using the music videos. So I really loved the editing process. So I found out, by the way, at that time, that editors made $3,000 a week. So I was like, and I was not making $3,000 a week. So I was determined to become an editor. I went to school, I studied Avid and Photoshop and After Effects and anything you can possibly imagine. This was way before Premiere. And I was determined to become an editor. And one of the most interesting things happened to me that changed the trajectory of my career. I was a producer at VH1, and I was the only producer of color in my department. And there was a time where there were interns, and there was this young black girl that seemed to keep walking in front of my door several times. And at this point, I was working as a producer and working as an editor at night. So I kept seeing this young girl walk by my door, and eventually I asked her to come in. She couldn't have been more than 19 years old. And I came in and I asked her name, and I'm like, what's going on? She burst into tears. And she shared with me that the other PAs, the other interns, which were non-black interns, were all being kind of mean to her. And I realized that she was looking for someone who looked like her to talk to give her an ear. And at that moment, I decided, yes, I could make $3,000 a week sitting in a dark room cutting footage, or I could be here and represent for people who look like me and that are coming up. So I chose to stay in development. I would move on up through VH1, producing things like Behind the Music. I was the original producer, I'm totally dating myself here. I was the original producer of I Love the 80s. I did a 3-part documentary that I created and developed called Black in the 80s. Eventually I would move on from VH1 to work at TV1 as Vice President of Programming and Development. At that point I thought I could only work at networks that end in 1. But I spent some time there, would elevate to Executive Vice President of Programming, Head of Programming at TV1, bringing shows like Unsung, Life After, R&B Divas. I brought our first scripted series, The Ricky Smiley Show, our Essence Music Festival, so on and so forth, until it was time for that chapter in my life to come to an end. I moved to Los Angeles, and the new CEO of Hallmark, who hails from Atlanta, by the way, tapped me to run the Mahogany Initiative, which is basically taking the Mahogany card brand and translating it into a slate of films for African American women. We've done that over the last couple of years. Our very first film, Unthinkably Good Things, which I shot in Italy, premiered at the Bronze Lens Festival a couple of years ago. We're in production now for our Christmas movie. Everyone knows a Hallmark Christmas movie. And I hope to continue to be able to do more of that.
This girls trip is long overdue.
Can nothing stop me? I'm living high. No more waiting my time.
Italy! Buongiorno!
We could ride Vespas.
I am not getting on a Vespa.
Right now, Italy is winning.
I can see why everyone falls in love here.
Look up, hold your head high.
This is my Eat, Pray, Reset time.
Can nothing stop me? I'm living high.
Mahogany presents Unthinkably Good Things on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit HBCUFirstLook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I Know. It's time for a new relationship with your skincare. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
So now we're going to have a discussion. First of all, I hope you heard a lot of gems just now in everything that was said. I heard advice about networking. You heard folks up here say they're still doing that. Talk about that. When did you learn the value of networking? At what stage in college?
It actually started for me in, I worked at Guitar Center in retail, music retail, and it was a commission-based job. We made minimum wage, and everything was based on sales. And so I realized that I needed to be personable, I needed to build relationships and have people come in and ask for me. And so that was where that started. And then it translated when I started seeing that editing is a service-based type of role as well, because I'm essentially just the hands for the director. I'm essentially just trying to carry out their vision and add my little twist to it, but at the end of the day, it's their vision. And so I think when you start to see all of the relationships that you have in front of you, and you start to look at yourself, be honest with yourself about what it is that you like to do, what it is you're passionate at, and what you're good at, and what you're built for. A lot of people, like what she just mentioned, I'm built for sitting in a room all day. Like I can sit in a room literally all day in the dark by myself, weeks at a time, and that's just what it is. Everybody can't do that. Everybody's not built for that. But I also can't go on set and command the whole situation like a director. Like that's not my gift. So I think it's just important to use your gifts appropriately and then network with people to match with you and to find people that kind of complement your skill sets to help propel you forward.
And I want to pick up on something you said. You said realizing what you're good at. So I'm going to turn this to Lisa. Many people up here have multiple titles, right? Multi-hyphenates, right? So at what point do you realize, okay, I can be a host, I can be a motivational speaker, I can also be a filmmaker? How do you balance having multiple talents and still excelling at all of it?
Right, so I had to marry that. So really quickly about the networking thing, you guys can do it all. For you guys, you're in school, I don't know if you're all film majors, but your networking is here, so that's quickly. I didn't go to school for film, so when I left school, there was no networking amongst my peers. So your peers are also your crew members down the road, so I'll say that quickly. But when I left school, and I told you the story about how I became a filmmaker, I didn't have a clue as to how I was gonna be in front of the camera, because that was the struggle. My love is turning up in front of the camera. I get my face snatched, I be looking cute. So I was doing more producing because, it's pretty much nuts and bolts. I've got some skills. I did my first documentary. I got a job producing Brick City, the docuseries that was on the Sundance Channel by Mark Benjamin. I got that job, no in front of the camera stuff, and didn't get the next producing job. Well, what happened was, if I had not produced that documentary about Men on the Down Low back in the early 2000s, I would not have gotten in front of the camera. There was a lady out of California in Park Hill Entertainment. She did one Hollywood version for BET. My editor, who's in Atlanta now, knew her, and she said, "Oh, I'm doing this film about men on the down low. We're gonna have J.L. King. He had written a book. She has all these Hollywood connections, and we need some footage about men on the down low. Would you know anybody?" He said, "I just edited a piece for somebody for a film." He called me, and I said, "Okay." We met in Vegas at NABT, a festival or a conference, and she purchased some of my footage from my film. My film didn't get far like hers, in terms of a big network, but she purchased some of my footage, and then she said, and I want you to interview J.L. King for the piece. So I got in front of the camera as a correspondent. When it came out on BET, it blew up. People were like, Lisa, we saw you on TV. Michael Baisden, who was on radio nationally in New York and other places, was looking for someone to come on the show to talk about the project. He couldn't find anybody. He was saying, call us. We want you to come on the show, talk about the BET piece. So my friend said, girl, did you hear the Michael Baisden show? No, he needs somebody to come on the show and talk about the piece. He can't find the producer. I said, give me the number. Hello, yes, come on the show. Book the date. I was on for 1 hour on the Michael Baisden show. Oh my God, clap for that, it was good. So after that, then I became a person that was what you call an expert in the field of pop culture, politics, and social issues. And then my films supported that. So if I hadn't done my film, I wouldn't have known Park Hill Entertainment. I wouldn't have sold a piece of my film to that and gotten that chance, and that's how that circled around. So to the point, don't question sometimes the flow. They're interconnected. So now fast forward, I now know that media is media. Content is content. So I rebranded myself to call myself a multi-hyphenate.
Like somebody said something to me that's very poignant, and it's kind of obvious, but it's thoughtful when you think about it. Wherever you are in life is a direct reflection of your daily routine, right? So if you want to play basketball, I need to see you with a ball in your hand every day, right? You want to be a filmmaker, go shoot something. Use your phone, use your iPad, get iMovie, you got free software online, just do something, always be working. Secondly, shameless plug, I have a studio in Marietta called Studio Approach. I'm one half of it. My partner does production, so we're always looking for production assistants, always looking for every role on the production side, and then I'm looking for assistants. The last 3 shows I worked on, I've used assistants out of LA remotely. So it's been surprisingly tough to find editors in Atlanta. Well, no, let me not say that. Editors that aren't busy. Right. So, yeah, reach out.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
I want to turn to Toni and talk about because we're talking about content, producing films. Hallmark, but also Mahogany, because Mahogany has been around for decades, okay? And I love when I can turn on the channel, now Hallmark, because you were part of that groundbreaking move to put a movie that had a predominantly all-black cast, right? Love Story on the main Hallmark channel, okay? That was a big deal. So talk about what you're looking for in content. What makes good content for a platform like Mahogany or Hallmark?
Well, particularly for Hallmark or any other network, any other platform, any other streamer, just like in music, it always starts with a song, it starts with story.
Yep.
You have to have a good story. Yep. Then for better or for worse, you also have to have a story that is commercial, right? And commercial is relative, right? So for Hallmark particularly, we are bounded by the brand. We are brand first. The Hallmark Cards brand has been around for almost 100 years, and the brand was launched on a very simple thesis, which is putting more care into the world. If you've ever had a Hallmark card, many of you here probably don't know the brand Mahogany, but I can guarantee your moms and dads do, right? So it's a brand that was launched in 1987 by Hallmark for African Americans. So for us, that card brand is a brand about sisterhood, community, purpose, love, empowerment. So it's my job from a content space to take the essence of that brand and translate that into storytelling. But first and foremost, recognizing that the Hallmark channel is a channel about love stories, I'm looking for content that reflects that. But the most interesting and what seemingly seemed like the easiest thing seems like the most challenging thing to tell these love stories in the Black space, because we are bound by the brand, which means There are many, as filmmakers you'll learn, there are many roads to getting to telling your stories. There are many ways to tell a love story. You know, there are love stories that are easy, there are love stories that are fraught with drama, there are love stories that are, you know, based in horror, and there are love stories that are very tragic. For us, the network is a network that is, I guess, PG, right? So there are certain things that just do not fit, not only on our network, they don't fit the brand. So there's no violence, there is no sex, there's not a lot of convoluted themes, there's no snarkiness, there's no meanness. Now you would be like, oh, that's great, but then it makes it a little bit challenging for a network that, believe it or not, makes 100 movies a year. We crank out 100 movies a year, which is insane. But it makes it challenging to tell the same story over and over and over again. It becomes impossible not to tread in the sea of sameness. But for the Mahogany brand, which is new, what I look at it as an opportunity to, simply put, give Black women their happy ending without a lot of drama. And I don't mean drama in the sense of, you know, conflict is drama and drama is great to tell a story. There's gonna be tons of scary drama in the reading. I already know that without even seeing the trailer, right? It's gonna be compelling, it's gonna hold your attention. But for us, particularly for Black women, when we've seen our image displayed in so many different ways, and oftentimes in ways that we're not really appreciative of, or we don't necessarily feel truly represent we are, this is just a straight journey to a love story. Boy meets girl, they have moderate obstacles, and ultimately, in the end, they come together. We're looking for stories that express that also find creative ways. How do you make this different? And how do you make the same love story that you've seen multiple times? How do you make it different with the boundaries that you face? So we're all, you know, right now we're all scripted. We produce mostly love stories. We've done 6 in the last 2 years. The one we have in production right now, we're shooting in Canada. We'll be on in December, called Christmas with a Kiss, where we'll finish shooting it next week, and then I'll spend a lot of time in visual effects because it's 82 degrees in Canada right now, and I'll have to make it look like it's, you know, there's snow everywhere. Exactly. I'll give you all the information. Yeah. So, but that's the fun part, right? That's the fun part of creating that emotion, creating that thing that everyone loves about Christmas, that final kiss, the snow coming down, the hot chocolate, all of those things. So again, for us, it's about the love stories, and for me, it's about love stories that feature people of color.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
Courtney, I want to talk to you about this journey to creating your vision behind the reading, all of it. Okay, first start with that. How did you get the vision?
I was watching TV one day, and I don't know if y'all know, and I've told this before, there's this kid, he was a kid, he's older now, but his name is Tyler, he's a medium. So he goes around and he does medium readings for celebrities and like other people. I think he has like a YouTube or something like that. So I was at one of my friend's house and it was on TV, and Tyler was doing a reading for Bobby Brown. And so this was after, you know, after Whitney passed. Mm-hmm. So he was doing a reading for Bobby Brown, and there was this one moment where Tyler didn't know who Bobby Brown was because he was too young at that point to know who Bobby Brown was, but he knew who Bobby Christina was. So he, in the medium, he was just sitting there and he was like, yeah, you know, your aura seems familiar. And then he paused and his eyes got really, really big, and he was like, and then he was like, you're Bobby Christina's dad. And he was like, yeah. But in my mind, I said, what if he saw something horrible about Bobby Brown that nobody else knew because he's a medium? And from that moment, that's what sparked the idea of me wanting to recreate that moment in a film. Everything came from that moment, wanting to create a medium that finds out something about someone that nobody else knew. And then it grew from there.
You have the idea. So as an independent filmmaker, how do you get Monique onto that project? How do you get, and then the second part of that, the funding, the backing to pull this off?
Those questions.
I didn't go to school for film, so I didn't know the technical things that go. There was like a script that you gotta like follow in the industry. I had no idea. And luckily I had no idea because ignorance is sometimes one of the greatest things that you can have. So honestly, I was doing a pitch deck for a young lady that I knew she didn't have her stuff together. Like she called and she was like, yeah, I heard you do films, I need a pitching deck. And I was like, oh, okay. And she invited me to her office, which I knew wasn't her office because the address that she gave me, it was in the hood and I'm from that hood. And I'm like, there's no offices over there. But I went anyway. And it was like her apartment, her office was like her front room, her kids was like running around. It was super hood. But something was really on my spirit, like, hey, you need to help her. I was like, all right. So she told me her book wasn't even finished, like it was a whole thing. But I told her, okay, you need a pitching deck, these are the things that you need. And I told her she shouldn't hire me because I would be too expensive and she could put that money other places. This is what you need to do, a pitching deck. So like a month later, something fell on me and was like, hey, check in on her. She knew nothing about me. She didn't know I wrote the reading. I didn't tell her anything. I didn't tell her what I was looking for or anything. She just knew from me being around the city that I did film. So I called and checked on her like a month. And she was like, that's crazy that you called and checked. My friend is in from out of town and we're working on the pitching deck today. Do you mind speaking with her? She has questions. I was like, all right, cool. And she was like, well, hold on. She's on the phone with Monique's PR. And I was like, what? And she was like, I was like, Monique? She was like, yeah, she's on the phone with Monique PR. And I was like, okay, well, tell her to hold on. I said, look, if y'all can get me a solid email on Monique, I'll do your pitching deck for free. Wow. And she was like, okay, cool. So she said, okay, cool. So I did their pitching deck, sent it to her. So she sent me an email. Now, at this point, I don't know anything about Monique other than the Parkers and like Queens of Comedy. I don't keep up with the social media or anything like that. So she sent me the email. So I emailed what I thought was how you're supposed to email these people. I was wrong. This is not the direction that you do that. My first email was like, yo, I'm out here doing this film stuff. And, I think I even had in the text. I think I text in there. Oh God. And I was like, I'm trying to see if Monique would be interested. So I got like a super long hell no. Like it was a long paragraph of no's. Like it was a hell no, this ain't it. So I was like, I emailed back and I was like, look, I'm new to this level of filmmaking. I don't know what I'm supposed to be sending. My apologies. So then he emailed me and he was like, all right, well, look, give me a call, I'm driving. Gave him a call and he was like, all right, what is it that you're trying to do? We had a short conversation. He was like, okay, look, this is what it's gonna take. So then I lied because I didn't want to get them off the phone because I knew if I let them go too far, like I'm gonna set up this car. So I think he was like, it'll cost $1 million. I'm like, all right, let me talk to my investors. But I didn't have no investors then at all. I didn't have none. So I was like, all right, let me talk to my investors to see if we can make it happen. And he was like, all right, call me Wednesday. But it's Monday. So I was like, oh, this thing gonna work. So I said, okay, yeah, I'm gonna call you early Wednesday. I think Monday night I went on a jog and I was just talking to God and I was like, all right, I know, you did everything to get me here. What I'm gonna do about this money? And God was like, yeah, you need to edit the script though. And I was like, no, I'm gonna edit the script, but what we gonna do about this money? Because I got this call with this man on Wednesday. He was like, you need to go edit the script. And it was COVID. So that night, Monday night, I went to Starbucks that was closed, but they randomly let me into like the outside little area. Let me sit out there. I sat out there at like 2 in the morning and edit the script. So Tuesday morning, I get this call from an Atlanta number. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I answered. And it was the guy, and he was like, hey, man, I was really inspired by your conversation. I spoke to my wife about your about, you know what I'm saying, what we talked about, and she was inspired too. She wanted to speak to you. And at that point I was like, man, ain't nobody want to talk to your wife. Okay, if this gonna get me closer to getting that, let's go. And so then Monique jumped on the phone and she was like, hey, sweet baby. And I was like, oh, so cause I didn't know that Monique's manager was her husband. So we got on the phone, we got to talking, and then she said, yeah, my husband talked to me about y'all conversation. I think that's really great that you do a lot of things for your daughter. Send me the script. I got about 2 hours to read it before I go out of town. Send me the script. So had I not been obedient like the night before, I would have had to tell her, well, hold on, I gotta send it to you later. And so I ended up sending it, and everything pretty much fell together like after that. She agreed, like she called me back like 4 hours later, like, nah, don't cast for this role, like I'm in. So we just.
Then the funding came together after that.
Yeah, I ended up with having half of the money, and then I went to another organization. And honestly, once you get Monique, it was what they talking about? Like, they not saying no. Like, yeah. So
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I Know. It's time for a new relationship with your skin. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
Oh my goodness, we could spend all day talking about everyone's story. We do want to have questions from the students, and as they're thinking of their questions, if each one of you could give one bit of internship, how can I move now advice. We can keep it pretty tight, but what can you do now if you have an internship to offer, or any moves they can be making right now to get ready for these internships that could lead to their careers? You want to start?
What I would say is, well, first thing, I have to say this. On your journey, guys, this is so important. You have to ask yourself a base question of what is the experience you want to have. Not the job that you want to have. What is the experience you want to have? And every time you answer that question, keep going deeper and saying why, why, why. And when you get to the bottom of it, ultimately you're going to get to a point of either you want to make a change, you want to have some influence, or you want to be of service. But if you ask what's the experience that you want to have, then you leave yourself open to for God, the universe, to send you on a journey that is not specific to one thing. So if you allow yourself to be flexible that way, you will get to where you intend to be. In terms of what you can do, my recommendation, watch movies and filmmakers. At the end of every movie, look for the director, the producer, the production company, particularly the production companies. Those are the people that you need to reach out to see if they have internships. It's not just the writer, and writers are great, directors are great, but it's the production company. If it's something like, M. Night Shyamalan company, or Blumhouse. Yeah, right. Or Blumhouse, or A24. Look for the production companies. Most all of them have internships. Prepare yourself to travel. I'm going to tell you this. Live in New York once. Live in Los Angeles once. In California once. Move out of New York before it makes you hard. Move out of California before it makes you too soft. okay? Prepare yourself to travel, look for the production companies, reach out to them, find yourself internships.
I'm gonna make my quick points. How many of you are filmmakers in here? Majoring in film? Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, it doesn't matter what your major is. Have a resume now. Get that resume right and tight. So if you don't know how to format a resume, just go on Canva, get a free account. It's just plug and play, pop, so that you're ready on the ready. Because when I'm looking for people, when I'm on productions, a lot of times the producer hires you. A lot of times the co-producer hires you. And when I say you want an internship and I say, send me your resume, I need it today, not tomorrow, today. If you don't have it today and it's next week, I've moved on. Number two, you need to have a portfolio. There's free portfolio programs. A portfolio, you may not have a lot of things. On that portfolio, you can go on there's different free portfolios. You need to drop in content. If it's a graphic, if it's a little film you did, a little short, so that I can click on a link and see, oh, they have this little film or they did this little graphic, So everything you're doing now in college is actual content that makes sense. It's not just for a grade. That's number two. Number three, you are already creating content. Don't see yourself as students. That's a given. You are filmmakers now. You are content creators now. Anything you're doing now, a short, an essential is a film. So what you need to also do is make yourself searchable. So I want to know what you're doing with your content. You should have a YouTube channel. You should be on all the platforms and put up content. Lastly, that content you have right now, it could be a 5-minute short, it could be a 10-minute short, it could be a web series. Enter it in contests, because the unfortunate thing in this business is, even when we network, they're gonna say, what you working on? So if you say, I have a film in the festival, I'm the director, you can enter festivals, you're gonna get turned down, but you'll get into some. Quick story, even me, when I went back to school, I left and went to school full time to just finish my master's. I wasn't taking any freelance gigs. I'm doing projects in school like a student. I got an A in my little NGO film. It was a 5-minute NGO film. Left school, we had a group project. All the students were kids. Bye, we have an A, bye. I said, let me get in this edit and make this a short. I crafted it as a short and dropped that sucker into festivals. And now, what are you working on lately? I've got a film called Girls Matter. I was the director. I won competitions. So even a student project for me turned into an actual project in festivals. So those are all the tips. It's about now. You're already ready to start showing people that you can make this content and tell stories.
Stay ready. There you go. You want to add one quick thing, and then we need to get student questions.
Okay, so two things. One, they have created this thing to where you think that there are rules. There are no rules to creating content. Yep. Whatever you are doing, you make up the rules to the content that you're creating. There isn't some vast amount of underwater filmmaking that they don't give to you. You can create whatever content that you want to create. Do it now. As of right now, I can guarantee you there's a director in this room, there's a cinematographer in this room, there's a writer in this room, and there's an actor in this room. Stop looking far and beyond to those people to figure out what you need to do. All of y'all get together and do it for free. Now you have one of those projects for free that you can enter into whatever film festival that you have.
Yep. I want to be a science fiction and fantasy director, mainly making stories about the African diaspora and their folklore. And I was wondering, how do you think I should approach an industry that's already not Black focused? Most of the stories are European based, or most of the stories have mainly white leads and white stories. So I was wondering how you think I should approach that.
I think you already said you already have a film, correct? Yeah. So I would say really get into scripting and really attack it as you're attacking it. The one thing about Hollywood is right now is they're really starting to understand how powerful our voice is. So it's not as hard as it would have been 10 to 20 years ago. Your take on sci-fi will be the new take on sci-fi. Like, just attack it like that. Like, don't go into the industry thinking that there is this wall. There is no wall that you have, especially when you already have the culture behind you. Don't worry about that, just continue to create, and when you're creating, create it from your heart and from yourself. One of the interesting thing is the reason why it's been like that is because what happens is when the black story gets under the studio changes it to be something else. So 50% of the movies that you saw that are sci-fi, they probably wasn't always European. A black person probably wrote that and they just put a spin on it, as you see that they do these things now. So just continue to be strong and stand strong on the stories that you want to tell in that process, and you'll be fine.
And Cameron, you said, right? There's something else that you should remember. Well, first of all, things are so different than they were 10 or 15 years ago. When I did my documentary 14 years ago, I did an hour on music, film, and television. And I tracked from where we were in those spaces as Black Americans from the top of the 80s, I did over a decade, from the 80s to the end of the 80s, right? So here's the thing, we are in the most plentiful time that there is to tell stories. I was just quoted I was giving an interview in an article, and I was saying, what I'm seeing right now is the blending of genres, right? Typically you don't see, back 10, 15 years ago, any one story about Black Americans had to represent all of us. Right now, look at them. Look at the work that Jordan Peele is doing. And particularly with sci-fi, think of a way. You can think of the greatest thing about sci-fi, I get so excited about this, is that there are no boundaries. It's not black or white. You got people from other galaxies. I'm watching Wheel of Time right now on Prime. You know, you can put your point of view. You could put the African experience on any creature from whatever galaxy, from whatever planet. I think by going into sci-fi, you are beyond boundaries, right? Take what you want, take the story that you want to tell and figure out a world for it. That's what George R.R. Martin did. You know, that's what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings. Look at sci-fi networks. When you get out of school, get yourself to Los Angeles. Get yourself to the Sci-Fi Network. Their apps, their streaming services. You're gonna have an opportunity to use your creativity that is, like I sit up here and talk about Hallmark, you are boundless in sci-fi. So don't worry about it. There are no boundaries. You got this.
Let's just give our panelists a round of applause. Thank them so much for taking time from their busy schedules to come here and share so much about internship opportunities and their careers.